Lost in space and time for over 10,000 years, on a mission they were never meant to return from. They have returned from the horrible secrets of space. They are the Comic Shop.
Hello, this is the Asugo Comic Shop Does a Podcast. I am Papa Lee.
I'm Lucas Brewer.
A.K.A. Aaron Lee, Pens and Pedals.
I am Evan Coy.
And we've got special guest.
Alex Dexter.
Hey!
There he is.
The man.
Rocking the red and black flannel. Classic. Perfect for this time of year.
Mr. Lee.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
You've been gone from the podcast for a couple weeks.
I've been on sabbatical.
Can you tell us what's going on?
So my genetic material has in part been passed on to a new living being.
What?
Did you never get to talk?
I never got to talk. I don't understand relations, but apparently you have a 2-week-old daughter, Lucy.
That's
So
correct.
congratulations.
Congrats.
My wife
Shout out to Mrs. Lee.
She's there in the chat.
She's in the chat.
She's actually watching today.
What?
Oh, Teresa, here we
can you
go.
hit the shout out button?
He's going to
Yes.
press a button.
Give me one
This is
second.
the shout out button.
The shout out button.
Shout out.
Shout out to
There it
Mrs.
is.
Lee.
There it is.
You want to move a little closer?
Yeah, I'm going to move even
Get a little
closer.
cozy. Get a little
There we go.
cozy.
Yeah, so she was born January 9th, 10:54, 6.8 pounds, 19 inches long. Yeah, it was interesting because the whole thing kind of happened right after I had just finished doing an online, because I do these online art groups where there's a theme and people draw and hang out. I just finished that and slept for a few hours, and then Teresa alerted me that certain things were happening,
It's time.
and
It's time to rock and roll.
and then we left, drove clear roads, cold roads. Icy but clear, which I'm thankful for. Not much traffic, so I think we're heading into Krause Hospital around 4 a.m. And then we got there, and with COVID and stuff, you got to bring all the stuff in with you. So I had to bring the car seat, I had to bring the extra bag, so I'm carrying that stuff. And I almost wiped out on the ice twice, just like walking from the parking garage over to the. I did make it, and then it was basically the full day just working on. Getting Lucy to arrive, and I just kind of riding shotgun to that procedure.
Was this a long? Base the turkey off in there. Was this
Weirdly inappropriate?
Yeah,
That was a mistake.
because I was under the impression you went there kind of early in the morning, but it seemed like it was quite a while. Which I always think, oh, poor Mrs. Lee.
Yeah, she did not have a great time.
Does Mrs. Lee want us talking about this? Maybe I should.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, she'll give us a flag down. I think I can go over some stuff. There's certainly a comedy routine that can be cultivated from this experience, but yeah, everything went well. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's happy.
Awesome.
People are recovering and learning and growing and all that good stuff. We were at the hospital for a long time. I think it was just because of when we got there and when Lucy was born. Because they want to keep you for a certain amount of time, but then certain people, I don't know if people leave or whatever, and then they're like, oh well, we need this person to do this, so it's kind of like, oh
Just
okay.
The never-ending shift change, needing to. This person saw you. Well, they left for the night.
Yeah.
This person will see you now.
And then they're like, congratulations, okay, you guys are good to go, and we're like, yeah, and I was like, I'm going to get the car, and then I get the car and I wait out in front of the hospital for another hour and a half.
Oh.
And Teresa was just ready. She's ready to go, and somebody just had to get her. And it was just like, oh my gosh, guys. But hospital food very good though.
Shocking.
That's my
I find
takeaway.
that surprising.
What kind of hospital food was there?
Oh, the first day I had a chicken club. I had some chicken tendies with some honey mustard dip.
Yeah.
I had broccoli. Broccoli was good.
Disgusting.
I had apple crisp every single dinner because they offered
I
that.
mean, why not? Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: it's $10 a tray. Why not go ham?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Or
it's-
turkey club.
It's probably all like Cisco food anyway, so it's not too much different than most of the restaurants around here.
You're not wrong.
I wanted to immediately go into the what's his name club sandwich joke. Why am I blanking? I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
Roker.
No,
It's not a club sandwich.
comedian. Oh boy, this is so embarrassing. Keep going.
Very embarrassing.
Guys, let me break up the show. There's a joke
Hedberg,
about
Mitch Hedberg.
club sandwiches.
They let me order the sandwich, and I'm not even a member.
Oh,
Oh, hey.
How do you
But-
feel about frilly toothpicks? I'm all for them. Great, you're part of the club.
Excellent. But yeah, we got Lucy home. We've been, it's just getting into the schedule of it. Like feeding and changing and swaddling. I'm a great swaddler now. You guys know what the swaddle is?
I do not know what a
It's when you
Swaddle.
wrap a baby in a little
in a
blanket.
very particular way. Sort
Yes.
of like a small burrito.
You want to snug them in there because it makes them feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Gotten great at that. Got great at mixing together formula. Great at heating up the formula. Great at doing things with one arm.
You're gonna be so jacked, but like uneven.
Yeah, like my left arm, like my shoulder, and like my forearm is gonna be huge.
Yeah, if you're ever in a bodybuilding competition, they'll be like, "Well, he doesn't have good symmetry."
Oh, is this how like as an artist you balance out like your build?
Good segue, Alex, because I have still been able to work on drawing and other such things with the
good to
Lucy
hear.
in one arm, or I put her up on the chest and I break out the iPad and draw there. I bought a desk, not a desk, a lap desk,
Okay.
so I
yeah.
can sit on the floor and like pull up a little desk, and it's got a little
That's pretty cool.
incline.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
It might make an appearance on the show at some point.
Yeah, bring
But
it on.
yeah, it's been going good. We're on leave from work to take care of her, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice to have this time. And what's great is that my wife has she's more able to stay up at night. I'm just not able to do that. I mean, I could, but it would be a torture.
We've talked about this.
It would be torture. And I'm a morning person, so like I can get up at 3:30. Teresa's been letting me sleep up until 5 lately, which is pretty nice. But I don't mind getting up earlier if I have to.
It's been so long since we've had this podcast set up that I keep trying to adjust the volume on your mic, and I'm like, why is it not changing? It's because I'm adjusting Lucas's volume because everybody's just had different mics for the past few weeks, and now that we're back to normal, I'm doing my old thing.
Yeah, but it's been going pretty well, and I just had a little. Well, my wife did a photo shoot of Lucy in her little Marvel sleeper.
I saw that. It was very cute.
Yeah, and all those little golden books. I read her the Doctor Strange Trouble in the Dream Dimension. It's the first book I read to her. Purchased at
The
Comic Shop, 112 East Bridge Street.
The Comic Shop. Shout out to the Comic Shop.
Shout out to Lowe's.
Shout out to Lowe's.
Shout out to
You like how
Papa
I?
Lee.
Oh yes, thanks.
Shout out to Lowe's.
Yeah, it's going well.
There it
I
is.
think I'm doing okay.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's just all cute stuff all the time. I'm around my cute dog, around my cute wife, my cute baby.
You got the
Oh,
life.
and you're a cutie pie yourself there.
Thank you.
So like you have it pretty good in comparison to our topic of the day, which is Saga.
Saga.
Which starts off in a much more chaotic state. You guys
That's right.
made it to the hospital as opposed to having your child be born in the back of a
It was like a
dirty
gr-
garage.
Yes, yes, and we were not fleeing two warring factions in a tree.
Yeah.
That book does. It just hits the ground running, and
I think
I
you say that book slaps.
it slaps.
It does
Slaps,
slap.
dog.
Word to your mother. It's because it does like the first scene there where like they're giving birth in the dirty garage, and then they're banging on the door. They've already been sold out, kind of been sold out.
Yeah.
In just the weirdest way, like the altruistic sellout of I sold you out, I'm dying. Here's a map to the rocket ship forest.
The rocket ship.
What?
Yeah. But that's just how this book reads to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I didn't get through a full reread like you
How
guys.
far
did.
are you?
I don't know.
I only read volume 1,
I read
I'm
volume
on
like volume 2.
volume 8. Halfway through.
but I loosely remember the things. I'm rereading it though. It's excellent.
I think after the trade 3, it just I'm like addicted to it.
After that first
It's like, oh
trade,
my
it
God.
made me wonder why I wasn't actively getting it when it came out. I mean,
Yeah.
part of that was at the time I wasn't actively collecting comics, so like
Yeah.
I was just learning about, oh wow, there's really better, well not better, different and more interesting material for somebody of my interests through Image and things like that, as opposed to just Marvel and DC.
Yeah, I think I don't know the year specifically when this.
Unfortunately, we have
started.
no document camera today. So if we're sharing any art,
Yeah.
we're going to kind of have to hold it up. But we've got a
Yeah.
couple different. We've got the big
Look at
phone
this
book
beast.
here.
There it
Look at
is.
this thing, the compendium.
Thick.
Saga number
Pretty
one.
legit.
I'm not sure when this thing first hit the scene. I think I was a poor college student when this thing.
I believe Saga was 2012.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I just
that's
get
what I was thinking.
poor post grad, looking for work. So like I wasn't in the prime position to be picking up all of this. But man, is there a book with more bang for their buck? I mean, I love Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a whole hot time frame, like in general, before we really get into our Saga talk. Was like East of West was out at the same time, and Sean
East of West was
Ed-
Hickman, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
because we were talking
Yeah.
Hickman a week or two ago, and I was trying to bring up some of the older stuff, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty certain East to West.
East of West was one of those
East of-
books that just grabbed me, much like Saga. You read the first trade, and you're like, how did I miss this?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, hindsight's 2020, right?
yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I totally missed Saga as well. I was familiar with Brian K. Vaughn. I remember living in New Jersey, 2006, 2007, 2008, in Scotch Plains, where the Little Shop of Comics. Shout out to the Little Shop of Comics. Rest in peace. They actually just closed their actual physical store, and the Little Shop of Comics just does online sales. Shout out to the Little Shop of
At
Comics.
least they're still going though.
But the woman who ran that there turned me on to Why the Last Man, because I was looking for a trade one day, and she's like, "Have you read any Why?" And I said, "No." And I was very hooked on that. Although I don't think it necessarily stick the landing in the end.
No,
Why?
I don't think so.
It gave you a zillion great issues, and I went through that trade by trade. Fast forward to about 10 years later, I moved back from New Jersey to upstate New York again, where I'm from. And I'm at I guess this is before I decided to buy the comic shop, but I was at Comics Etc., which was the store I went to as a kid. However, it had changed locations. There used to be this cool place called the Village Gate, which had like all the hip shops, good restaurants, tattoo place, piercing place, vinyl records, the Bop Shop. Shout out to the Bop Shop.
Oh, the Bop Shop.
But I went to visit the new Comics Etc., and there's a gentleman there who's not the owner, but he kind of just hangs out. I don't even know if he's really an employee, but I've talked to him a few times. And he's always super nice. Maybe he's the Aaron Zeeley of that. I don't know.
Be careful if you ask me for
But,
help at the comic shop. I'll tell you all the good stuff.
But
and
he
I won't leave you alone.
recommended Saga. What should I say, Lucas? You're giving me a look. Shout out to Comics Etc.
There it is.
There, you got it. Thank you.
They've got a lot of concrete books that I'm going to buy next time I'm there.
But he recommended Saga, which sat in a short box for a zillion years before I finally got around to it. And you finally get around to it and you go, oh, damn, this is really good.
Yeah.
There's nothing that looks like it. There's nothing that reads like it.
It's amazing.
The storytelling is so tight that in that 22 pages, you really do feel like you get a whole story and then boom, good cliffhanger. A whole
yeah.
story and
Yeah.
then boom, good cliffhanger. It's just so well executed.
I'm interested to see going forward what it'll be like to read it as a single.
I'm curious.
Because I've always had, I guess, what you would call the luxury at this point of being able to read it as a volume.
Yeah.
So you get those cliffhanger moments still, because there's still a lot of gripping storytelling going on there where, but like I don't have to feel the heartbreak of like
Right.
the family splitting up going, oh no. And now they're on break for 3 or 4 months. But I need more now.
Well, if you're up to date, you know that feeling.
yeah.
But so we're talking about Saga. Should I give an overview of it, or should I tell my Brian K. Vaughn story?
Can you let's start with who is Brian K. Vaughn? Can you tell me a little bit about him?
I'm glad you asked. Brian K. Vaughn, born July 17th, 1976, is an American comic book and television writer best known for the comic book series Why the Last Man, Ex Machina, Runaways, Pride of Baghdad, Saga, and Paper Girls.
Did you read Runaways?
I did not.
Okay. Did you read Runaways?
No, but I also get it
didn't
mixed
either.
up with like the Marvel Runaways.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, but like I read the trashy Runaways from when they did the Doomverse from a handful of years ago, which was not the same as the Runaways series, but it did make me want to read it because I thought that was an interesting take on it, but I've never gone back yet.
I did not know that.
I did try to watch the TV show.
I did too, actually, on Hulu.
I wanted to like it.
Yeah, no.
I didn't
Not a
see
fan.
any of it.
Maybe I didn't give it a fair shake. It just like felt too CW.
I agree. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's very unfortunate given like what it could potentially be.
Yeah.
I think we've all read Paper Girls.
Yep.
Yes.
Why the Last Man?
Yep.
Ex Machina. I didn't read that either.
I want to read that really bad.
I am interested in that too because it's illustrated by Tony Harris. who's
Oh,
a
you're a
fa-
Tony Harris guy.
Yes, well, because he did the first half of Doctor Strange: Flight of Bones. Very, very important. That's like what finally got me into Doctor Strange. But we'll have a separate episode on that later on.
Sure.
But yeah, it's about a superhero who goes into politics.
Aaron, I'm
Okay.
going to say, try to get that mic in front of your face just a little bit more.
Bass, treble, and bass. The mic is now in front of my face.
Heyo. Cut the mid range, drop the bass. We got a comment here. What's it say?
Joe said the new overlays look sharp.
Also, Martin sold me on Ex Machina back in the day.
Jonathan,
Jonathan
so
Lego Man.
what's your Jonathan? Give us your Ex Machina summary if you could. But Brian K Vaughn, a lot of indie stuff, kind of likes to do his own thing, and seems like he's had a
Yeah,
lot of
he does.
success. He went from doing Why the Last Man to becoming a writer on Lost for several seasons, and I think that was kind of a. It was just based off of his work with Why the Last Man, I believe, which good science fiction-y type stuff. I can totally see
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
His relationship with Hollywood has continued, I believe. I think is he a showrunner on something right now?
No, he. I think he produced the Why the Last Man TV show, which got canceled.
Ah. It did look good. I hadn't had a chance to watch
Did
it.
did
I
anybody
heard-
see any of that?
No, I heard mixed things about it.
I heard mixed things as well.
He was pushing very hard for it to get picked up again.
Why is that?
I don't know why.
I feel like it's one of those kind of deals where maybe. Maybe with like the right backing, they can pivot to what works better.
Yeah.
I wonder if the show didn't do as well because of the trappings of whatever,
Network.
network.
I-
like,
I'm pretty sure Why the Last Man was in like production hell for
Oh, yeah.
years.
Oh,
and
it
years.
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
was. Like, I remember.
Did they talk about that in Wizard? That they were gonna do a Why the Last Man show? I feel like it's that old.
Could be.
Shout out to Wizard Magazine. That will be one of our future episodes. I think we discussed is that we do have a bunch of old wizards in the back, and I know that's a kayfabe thing, but I also think I would rip that off and just dig through a bunch of old wizards. That would be really fun. I think,
I'm getting into my kayfabe cosplay. I almost wore my sunglasses today.
yeah.
So I got
Yes, as
the
Ed
You got the
Piscar.
upstate, Ed Piscor knockoff. Yep, we're just gonna ride that cash
Why
train
not?
until
Why not? A huge fan. Imitation is the best form of flattery.
something like
one
that.
of the
Yeah.
characters in the open circuit in Saga is called Kayfabe.
Yes.
Oh, I gotta go.
That
see,
is true, yep.
my new brain needs to go through and connect with information from
Yeah.
my old brain.
So Lucas and I had like a brief mention of this, like, oh, we didn't bring out sex criminals. Like, oh, I always get those two like mixed up. It's like, oh no, that's definitely a Brian K Vaughn, and like it's like, no, it's Chip Zdarsky and Matt Fraction, but like it was in a similar enough time frame. But there's like random asides in Saga like later on, like after it had gained an amount of popularity, because like they just go out of their way to call Alana and Marco sex criminals at one point, which is not just like an everyday phrase that any character would use.
Yeah, it's not thrown around.
Well, they kind of are.
They are, but like of
In a
all of the
sense.
ways that you could possibly phrase what two lovers on the lam are.
I do like those in jokes. Like I know in there's a book crossover right now that Donnie Cates,
Yep,
I believe, is
Donnie
writing.
Cates.
There's all kinds of in jokes. Like Chip Zdarsky was even a character in it for
Oh, yeah?
for a full issue.
I'm not caught up on it. I've been getting
Yeah,
it.
and that's the whole joke is there's a lot of comic and it's the comic world invades the real world, so a lot of these artists and writers are referenced as like Robert Kirkman is missing type thing, like which is just silly asides. But I love cross. I haven't read. I'm behind on that too. I don't think I've read. It's on issue 10. I don't think I've read 8, 9, or 10. But
I'm a little bit behind too, but I love the premise. It's a lot of fun.
yeah, you got to kind of know comics, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'll have to
that's
check
true.
that one
That's
out.
true. So, Brian K. Vaughn,
Yeah.
very very successful writer, very successful, TV producer and writer. Done a bunch of stuff. A few years ago, I went to this event in Toronto called the Toronto Comics and Art Festival.
Shout out to TCAF.
I love that event.
Shout out to TCAF.
If we ever get to a post-COVID world, I would love to go back there, or even table there, see if they would accept me. But a great event. I only went there, I think it was either 2015 or 2016, but it takes place mostly in the Toronto Public Library, which is 3 floors, and it's a circular design, so you can kind of move around. Tons of great artists, indie artists represented by like Drawn and Quarterly or Fantagraphics or independent stuff or anything but Marvel and DC is kind of represented there.
Joe has also been to TCAF, it appears. Also, John definitely said Ex Machina, the mayor is a superhero, combines politics and superheroics. I mean, that sounds like an entertaining kind of
I hear it's
thing.
great. There's this huge Vertigo book, like hardcover omnibus of the entire run, and I want it so bad.
Oh.
I don't know if it could be out of print though.
I'm sure
Could
it is
be.
out of
Yeah.
print, but as long as it's not
Unfortunately.
abusively expensive, it's probably worth getting.
Yeah, that's something I want.
But at TCAF, they get a lot of very notable talent to come in that sell their work and sign and do talks and stuff. I got to meet Sean Phillips
That's cool.
there, which was awesome. Like I'm not typically one to get starstruck. Like, was able to have a conversation with him, but like as I was paying him to like do a commission for me, my hands were definitely like, let me get my money out of my wallet, and here's this. I really appreciate your work. Keep doing what you do. That kind of thing. But another person who was there at TCAF,
He still refers to you as Old Shaky from that interaction.
yes, and I got a picture with him, and then somebody was like, "You kind of look like you could be related," and that was just like made my heart like jump over the moon. Because he's British, so our
Yeah,
teeth
and
are
you're-
similar.
And you're British, right?
Well, my family originally came from Scotland, but
We have a British
Anyway.
accent too. So
yeah, it's pretty thick accent.
yeah.
So
Shout out to Aaron's British accent.
Yes. Shout
It
out.
is.
there it is. And so signing comics in the basement of the hotel that everyone was staying in, kind of an odd place for them to put him, was Brian K. Vaughn. And so we went down
Who's
'cause
that?
the writer of SAGA,
Oh,
Ex Machina, Why the Last Man, Pride of Baghdad.
Do you mean
Paper
the
Girls.
saga?
The Saga.
It's the
Saga.
saga. Okay.
It's my new gimmick is I'm going to put the in front of everything to make it sound like I don't know what I'm talking about.
like
There you go.
the Watchmen.
The wall every week would be the worst thing.
The wall.
Yeah. Just everything would be on the lowest shelf.
Brian K. Vaughn.
Yeah, he was in the
Great
basement.
guy.
So we came down at first and saw that the line was very long for him. And we go, hey, how about we set down our stuff and hang out in the hotel for a little bit and then come back? Worked out perfect. We came back. There was only 1 or 2 people in line. And I was able to take my volume 1 of Saga and have him sign it. Or I told him a fun anecdote. Because I taught a comics course at SUNY Oswego for a couple
I
semesters.
took that course. Not with you
Well,
teaching.
Yeah. I think mine's very different. Mine was more on like making 6 pages, making a pitch, and then like reading and dissecting stuff.
Yeah.
And I used the Drawing Words and Writing Pictures book, which I think it's
Oh.
available at the comic shop. Drawing Words, Writing Pictures. Is that available here?
I don't think it is.
I think it is. I think it's actually kind of hidden under a bunch of stuff. Like it's not prominently featured on the sales floor at all. I don't know why. I think at one point in time we were moving like more of the how-to books around, and they
Yeah.
never really found a home.
I don't think it's here because I remember he told me about that book.
It's
I mean, it's possible it's sold then, but it was
Yeah.
here at one point in time, and I know those books.
that is the
kinda-
best like textbook for if you want to make comics, because it takes all the Scott McCloud stuff and all like the Will Eisner stuff and kind of like combines it and puts it into digestible bits and puts it into a 5.
I didn't mute my phone.
Oh,
Oh, I was like, where's that
Jesus.
child? But
you've ruined the high production value that is the Comic Shop does a podcast.
but
Comic
yeah,
Shop has a podcast.
but that's a great
does a
book.
podcast.
I don't even think that's grammatically correct, but they wanted to go with does. So
I thought it was funny. It's like, oh yeah, the comic shop does a podcast.
But
Sorry, Aaron.
so I chatted with him a little bit about me teaching the class, because I had some students who expressed that they disliked the artwork of Fiona Staples.
Oh my
That seems
god!
bizarre,
Which is
but-
insane.
And I
Did you
told
fail them?
No,
You should have.
Did you hit him?
Should
no,
have hit him.
Should've hit
no.
'em.
But I didn't continue.
Sometimes that's the only
adjuncting.
way these kids learn.
You cane them until they appreciate it.
I don't think that was going to work.
Probably.
But
When you go, which one's your draw in hand?
in my fascist dictatorship that's built around cartooning, I might have, but that doesn't exist, thankfully.
Walt Disney.
But I talked to him, and he's like, wow, I've had a lot of people complain about my writing, but never once have I heard anybody complain about Fiona Staples' artwork. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what they're expecting.
What did Fiona Staples do before?
Yeah, I was wondering that.
Oh, she's done a bunch of stuff. She did Mystery Inc. or something like that.
Mystery Society, which
Mystery
I don't
Society
really know.
with Steve Niles.
Yes,
that's a fun
because
book.
I think Steve Niles referred her to Brian K. Vaughn, and they met at a convention or something, and like they had never really. They must have spoken with one another, but we're just like, okay, we're just going to start doing this book, and I think it was Steve Niles that hooked them up. Her art's amazing. I feel like she's a younger person too. Like, she
might be your age.
I'm old. I was going to think like your age, Aaron. Like maybe like
She can't be my age, but more and more in my life, I'm like, oh, this person's way older than me. They're 25?
And
Yes.
then you find out that you are becoming the old man.
I mean, maybe you can speak to some of her like her style, what makes it totally unique, totally great. The fact that she's so multi-talented, like the painted covers versus the computer stuff versus like I just feel like she's a master of all sorts of artistic mediums.
Well, I think Saga is all digital. Mystery Society may have been traditional. I don't know. I think it had a kind of a watercolory look, so I know that Lucas would love it.
I would absolutely love that, yes.
I feel like she kind of works a little bit like you, Aaron, in that my impression with Saga is, and how you work, and I don't want to speak for you, but you kind of do panel by panel and then piece it up in, a digital, Photoshop or whatever type program. I'm under the impression she kind of does the same thing where it's maybe she's working panel to panel and then piecing it all together. Could be totally wrong. Nobody spot checks anyone on this podcast, but that's my take.
You just make it up as you go, and people will believe it. It's
Yep.
fine.
Or for viewers.
I mean, it's possible. She's got to be doing page layouts though, and not totally winging it. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say because like she's good enough where she could just like drop things in and edit things.
On our cheat sheet,
Oh yeah,
somewhere like halfway down, I was reading it beforehand. It actually said that she starts with thumbnails and then works them up to pencils, but doesn't actually inks them in a software, kind of like you've done on the podcast a few times, or on the Thursday show, where like maybe it's something you have drawn and scanned in, and then you're inking it digitally.
Yeah.
yeah, kind of a hybrid.
After
hybrid
scanning
model.
the thumbnail, she enlarges them and uses them as that's a big word, pencils and inks over them in,
It's rudimentary.
okay.
Rudy.
In Manga Studio.
Manga
Do you know Manga
Studio, yeah.
Studio at all?
Manga Studio is the same thing as Clip Studio. So Clip Studio is just new Manga Studio.
Oh, okay. So they've changed the name at a certain point in time?
Yes, to make it more accessible, because like you might have somebody like maybe me and my old thinking is like, I don't do manga, I'm a comics artist.
And then you find out that you've been missing out on like a pretty solid program.
Oh, the inking in that program is delightful. If you haven't, if you like to do like clear, crisp line art and you haven't used Clip Studio, do yourself a favor and wait until they have a sale and you can get it for $30. And then if you buy it for PC or Mac, you only have to buy it once. Or if you use it on an iPad, you can pay $70 a year, which I do, and I have zero regrets.
I mean, it sounds like a good piece of software, but just
Yeah, buying it more than once is a little silly, but having that functionality in every single device, anywhere I go, is just chef's kiss. But Fiona Staples, it's cool that she does her pencils on paper, because I feel like I get the best artwork when I do pencils on paper and then scan it in and then ink it on the computer. I feel like that combination for me works better. I mean, I can ink really good in person too, but it's much faster digitally. So that time when you're like tired because you get to work on stuff like early in the morning and late at night, like since you have the computer helping you, it like looks better, as opposed it would take twice as long to do it in person, because those moments are like, oh, I'm so tired, and then the lines get a little less crisp.
The times I've hung out in your studio and drawn, that's what I love pencils. Like, but then I enjoy taking it to digital for inks, because I'm just not very confident in my inks. And yeah, I can have all that dynamic energy in the pencils then, but also if I screw up something inking wise with traditional ink, I beat myself up. Aaron, you don't. You just throw the white out on and keep moving. But I get hung up on that. Whereas if I'm doing the digital stuff, I can just hit the undo button, and I feel like I have much more control over, okay, I've got the energy with my pencils here. Now I'm going to tighten it up, and it's a more forgiving tool, and it's a faster tool.
Yes, very, very much so. Much more forgiving. You can make changes faster. Once you get the ink down on the paper, you can throw the white down or the deleter number 4, which is the white. I think it's number 4.
Deleter number 4, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, to white out the stuff, and or even just some designer's gouache that works pretty good too. You can go back over the top of it. But like, there's ways to do it. And like, if you watch Bill Sienkiewicz, any of his demos, you're like, there's nothing you can't come back from. But
Nothing is a mistake.
that's
It's only temporary.
well, you kill it to bring it back as something better. But that's cool that she does that, and she imports the art into Photoshop, and then she uses Manga Studio. It said because you can definitely see the tapered lines and stuff inside inside this work. And if you use Clip Studio at all, and you use the brushes and know
hold that phone book up. Let's see some of these
how the brush engine works. You can see those typical lines. It's like if you see anybody working in Adobe Illustrator, and you see artwork, there's certain things that you'll recognize about making things in that software. So you'd be like, they're using this and this and this. So she's an early adopter of Manga Studio. I mean, I'm sure Manga Studio's been around for a long time. I think my wife got it for me in 2015. It might have been like a wedding present to me or something. I forget.
Just that page right there. Can we talk about how fun all these characters are? Like Lion Cat. Like
Okay.
I think Lion Cat is such a great little device to like.
He's a fan favorite.
Yeah, to like move the plot in different directions and things
You
like
say
that.
Absolutely.
She's a fan.
Sorry.
Okay, before we get too much further there, we talked about like the great artwork of Fiona Staples, how she draws, with clear line in the front, more painterly backgrounds, kind of a more European sensibility, which allows her to focus a lot more on the characters. And even though there's quite a bit of detail in this, there's a good amount of clarity and like sparseness to the compositions where it still feels like everything's there, but there's definitely things that she's doing that look good that save her time. But anyway, before we go too much further into the characters, I want to kind of give like an idea of what this whole thing is about. Which is like Romeo and Juliet meet Star Wars by way of Heavy Metal magazine. That's how I would describe it.
It's a good
That feels
description.
accurate.
Yeah.
Because it's not as pure and
This is a more
lighthearted
adult.
as-
This is a more adult book.
Yes.
I think it's probably the most
yes.
adult book I've read, comic-wise.
Yeah.
Maybe Preacher is up there, too.
Preacher is a different route. This is one of those kind of all-encompassing books where they don't shy away from the sex or the violence.
No, yeah.
But they never use it as an amount of gratuity. Like it usually has a purpose. It's like a vehicle to like either this is where you've started or like they use it as a way to move into maybe a different character arc, I guess is where I'm trying to go with that.
or even do kind of like a shock value
Yeah.
to like actually
yeah.
to actually give you a page turn payoff that's not like lame.
Yeah.
Like even my wife was reading volume 1. She got through the first 3 chapters of volume 1, and I heard her laugh out loud reading it, which
It's amazing. Like there are a lot of those moments where you could have a true, like, even if you're sitting by yourself, audible chuckle or maybe a gasp. Like the emotion definitely drags you, like storyline wise, as the pages go sometimes, let alone as a whole story arc or like a chapter would go.
and all those events like the gross out things, they never veer away from the character. Like the character that's experiencing it has all those backups or all the what am I trying to say here? Everything the characters experience, their reaction just makes you know the character more.
It always seems genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think about those first couple pages with Alana there and
100%,
the birth of Hazel.
They're kind of having a chuckle between each other about pooping.
Very very real scenario that can happen during those things. Not anything that happened to me, but
You didn't poop yourself.
no, I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't.
congratulations.
Thank you.
You did.
Shout out to Aaron Lee for not pooping himself.
Although I did have a lot of fluid gather at my eyes at the birth of Lucy. There must have been an onion in there. The doctor.
Oh,
brought it.
that's so sweet.
Just hide an onion in the heater in every room.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, Dad, you need to hold this onion. I was like, why do I need to hold this onion? Or you want to take a picture of that onion? I guess. This is the birth onion. But anywho,
Going back to some of those fun character moments, like, is it Fard, the big,
Oh, the giant.
the big giant, naked giant?
Oh, yeah.
And then Marco's trying to protect his mom from like seeing it's just such a funny
Yeah,
little
yeah.
like you don't want your mom to look at the giant swinging penis giant, you know, like
But she jokes that it's like not the
Yeah.
first one she's seen.
yeah. It's the little things like that where it's like this absurd situation and there's a moment of humor and there's a moment of character development and I feel like it just hits those notes issue to issue where there's always that little moment where like yeah it's kind of funny or kind of weird but like the character you could just see how the characters are growing coming out and then you're introduced to this big goofy creature or this weird goofy whatever like
Which, who saw that coming on that? What ended up not being a planet, it was an egg.
it was an egg.
Very strange. Very strange.
oh, they ripped off Eternals. Come on, Brian K. Vaughn. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, ripped off the turtles.
No,
Ripped-
Eternals.
Turtles.
Oh, Eternals.
No, no.
Eternals.
Yeah, Eastman and Laird.
Oh,
I thought you said okay.
somebody
all right.
get me a
Turtles.
pencil. We have a new property, the E-Turtles.
It's like the E boys and the E girls, but just turtles with.
I'm not familiar with this context. We need to do more research
I
before I
mean,
jump on that train.
Careful what you Google.
Kamigawa
not.
Neon Dynasty, just Ninja Turtles.
I don't understand any
Yeah.
of that.
So
but,
you just say words until then you just sell it. You know?
I was just going to combine Jack Kirby's characters with the Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
And then
No,
there would be
I'm-
the E-Turtles.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. That's a good. So since we've totally derailed from what we were talking.
I know. I feel
And
like
I need
we
to
haven't
know.
talked
I need to
much
flesh
Saga.
this idea out mentally a little bit. The E-Turtles are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Eternals.
Yes.
Combined.
Okay.
That's what I thought of
Yeah,
them
no,
as.
no. Like I'm with you on this. Do we have to add extra? Like, do we have to add the extraneous Ninja Turtles characters to the book? Like, is Casey Jones in there? And like
course.
the weird robot turtle that.
Metalhead.
There you go.
Was
I
that
think
correct?
I think it's Metalhead.
I was
you
going to
could-
say no, but now you're selling me on it.
Yeah. Shell Shock.
Saga.
But yeah, back to Saga.
The Saga.
We've run that horse into the ground.
There is a turtle ninja in Neon Dynasty.
See, Joe's helping me.
Thanks, Joe. Shout out to Joe Samuels.
Actually, my mom just dropped off a sleeper for Lucy that had 2 turtles on it.
See,
Oh,
and now we've gotten back to Saga because that's an adorable family moment.
the Saga.
The Saga.
The Saga.
Who's everyone's favorite character in the Saga?
Oh boy.
I like Marco a lot.
Yeah, Marco's cool.
I just love that he's dedicated to being a pacifist
Yes. Yes.
in this
He doesn't
intergalactic war.
always, yeah, he doesn't always do the best at being a pacifist because he
Yes.
loves violence.
He's
and
very good at it.
struggles with it throughout
should
the
show that
entirety
page.
of the book. Favorite character? I'm kind of partial to Isabel. Honestly.
I was gonna
like,
say Isabel too. Yeah.
like I like the main cast. Like obviously I'm a big like Alana Marco like rooting for that family. You know,
You got it. Yeah.
Hazel as she's gotten older has become a more and more interesting character.
Yeah,
the
for
the
sure.
farting fairy, yeah, it's a great splash page.
Yeah.
To start an
it's
issue.
Something.
Hold it up. Let's see.
It's very fun.
I don't know if we should show that.
You should show that. It's very
let's,
funny.
Let's preview this with Evan first.
That's fine.
Okay, here it is.
Okay.
It's the farting fairy.
Yeah.
The caption is "Oopsie, made a universe."
Yep.
I mean, the
We
big
didn't-
the Big Bang right there.
We
right?
didn't choose to
that's how
show
it was
anything
created.
racy. Like if that's like the raciest thing that we show from this book, we're doing pretty good.
I guess you're right. Yeah, you got a point. Yeah, I like Isabel. She's kind of this. I don't know, this moody kind of.
Well, she's a
She's
teenager.
the
she's like
babysitter.
Or half a teenager.
yes.
We never know how old she is though. Like she has
Yeah,
some of the
yeah.
youthful nature of a teenager, but like they allude to it several times that she is very likely 100 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
They never give a specific time, but there's
I feel like early on she's referred to like as the teenage babysitter. So
Definitely.
maybe that's what's in my head, and that's what I'm thinking of.
later on though, Alana and Marco are having like a conversation about like how mature she can be sometimes, and find it odd that this teenage girl can have such a worldly view even though she's been dead for who knows how long.
And actually, that's a very good point. Going back to even though in those early, when she's first introduced, she's kind of giving all sorts of parenting advice that like is legitimate. That like what they should be doing with the baby that they're not doing. But yeah, again, still comes across as kind of like a kid.
I think she has the best like jokes in there, for sure. But
Aaron, who's your favorite character?
Yeah.
Did you say? Oh, you said Marco. Lucas,
Well,
did you
I
say
mean,
yours?
Isabel,
Okay.
I
who's
mean,
yours?
I don't know.
The stalk.
the stock's
The
design
stock
is super cool.
The stock, yeah, actually, the design for these
The
characters
freelancers.
are so great.
The freelancers are interesting character wise, but all written to be just the biggest pieces of garbage.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
They're,
And are written well for that, with the exception of maybe the brand.
The brain, yeah. Well,
the will,
Piece of garbage.
Yeah,
but
Giant piece of garbage.
there is some redeeming stuff about the will.
there is, yes.
yeah.
He's
Make your art. Well, okay, I mean, obviously, he's not a great human being or a great whatever he is. But Alex, why is he a giant piece of garbage?
that's spoiler territory there.
There's a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the reason why I feel like he's just human garbage is deep into the territory of spoiling
Yes.
many story arcs. He has very few redeeming qualities. The most redeeming thing from the entire series, and I don't feel it's too spoilery, is when he's on the weird planet and saves the slave girl.
Yeah.
Like that is,
And maybe that's what I'm thinking of,
that
like a
is
redeeming.
the
Yeah.
moment
Yeah, but that's really about
character-wise
it, I feel
where you go, okay, maybe this guy who's an unrelenting murderer isn't so bad because he's doing something altruistic. Like it doesn't get him anything at all, and it kind of devolves after that, though. Like once he starts losing people that are close to him, it goes off the rails.
You've got a nice little Will action figure behind you.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
was
saw
about to
that.
Oh.
With a lion cat.
Which is
Oh, there's
sort
two of them. Far right.
Okay, we've got a
Look at that.
the pop,
The
the will,
The pop.
Billy.
Look at that. Nice little Will with a lion cat.
Lion Cat, one of the series favorites,
Yeah,
one of the
he's a fan
standout
favorite.
characters.
That's
by far.
one of my favorite characters, I would say, is Lion Cat. And I kind of mentioned that earlier. I just think it's a fun.
that
I
only
love
says one
device.
thing too, or when someone's telling the truth,
And yes,
and
someone,
Lion Cat's like,
like just disgusted or just angry.
I do like that Lion Cat abandons the will. I think that's a
It's
good
a spoiler.
pivot. It is a spoiler, but you don't know why.
That's true.
So it's alluding to something that hopefully people will want to read towards.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah, I
people
gotta
take away anything, I hope they take away Read Saga.
You
from
should
this
read
podcast.
Saga. It's amazing.
I've
It's
got
my favorite comic.
I got to do the full read through again.
Lucas, why is it your favorite comic?
Well, it's kind of the first one that I got addicted to. Because before this, I read Alan Moore Swamp Thing, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. But it wasn't, for me, it wasn't a page turner. And then I think the next one I read was Saga. And you
What a
can.
stark difference.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's.
I don't know why I picked up Saga. I was watching some YouTube videos and.
Did you get that here? Or did you get that somewhere
no,
else?
I got that here. Remember, you can attest to this. I came in 3 times a day to pick up every trade.
That's why Lucas has a job here. Is that for
It's
a period
true,
of time, he would just show up 2 to 3 times. He would literally buy a trade, leave, come back 3 hours later, buy the next trade, leave, and then he would like call and be like, what time do you guys close? It'd be like 6 o'clock. He's like, all right, I'll be there in 15 minutes. And he would come and get a, and yeah, that's kind of just turned into like, hey, do you want to help us out at an event? Because we did need help.
Yeah. We talked about this.
We did. We
recently.
talked about this the other day because I kind of didn't remember how it all went down.
You
But
have a bad memory because you're old.
I know. I have problems with my short-term memory, my long-term memory, and my short-term memory. But invited Lucas because we were just short-staffed. Not short-staffed. We were just running behind on things, and I was like, "Do you want to just come in for a few hours a week
a
and
leg
help
up.
out?" Yeah.
Here
Now I don't.
am.
Now I don't really need shit because it's
No,
slow
I'm-
again. But you're kind of just here.
I'm just hanging out. But
He's killing time in between his Lowe's shifts now.
Yes.
exactly.
Shout out to Lowe's.
Hold on. Shop at Lowe's. But yeah, no, Saga was the first comic that I really got addicted to.
Yeah, your camera's backwards.
Oh,
We're not backwards. It's just
You're fine. Don't worry. But I remember reading. I think I probably read it within a week and a half. The entire 54 issues, whatever, because I was just that addicted to it, and I could not put it down. I fell in love with the characters, the story. And
Wait,
there's
what's
so many
going on? What's
cliffhangers.
going
I
on
know.
over here?
What are we doing?
No, this is too spoilers territory. This one, and not because it was a good villain, and I hate to be doing this. You can't see what I'm looking at. I'm not going to describe it because it is too spoilery because it's from the last book.
Yeah, it's very spoiler.
But there is a character that is like detestable on multiple levels, and it's well written, but it doesn't make me feel like it was a good villain. I just hated the character. Unlikable. Doing atrocious things because they happen to have power.
Yeah.
But
reminds me a lot of myself.
I was just flipping through the compendium here on Saga, and
On
I
the
just say
Saga.
you don't mess with Sweet Boy.
no, that what a time.
It's horrible.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Go into it a little bit.
Sweet Boy.
Yeah.
As, you mentioned that Lion Cat leaves the will, so Sweet Boy is like a big dog that is
Big dog.
is this Lion Cat's replacement with the
And
will.
to give a good like mental representation, Sweet Boy is a Saint Bernard, but he's red and black and has a large skull barrel that he carries, sort of like the old Swiss Alps Saint Bernards.
Just great designs. Fiona Staples, like you can tell that Brian K. Vaughn just let her go nuts.
Yeah.
With the designs.
The
And
design for these characters is sick. Everyone is so unique. Everyone
Yeah.
is so different, but simple enough that
Yes.
like if they're not overly complicated, but they're
Yeah.
just very clever designs.
It's one of my favorite things about reading through the trades themselves is that they always add something in the back. And in the back of a few of them, there's just the script that he would hand her.
Yeah.
And you can very easily tell, like, it might be a simple page and she just goes crazy with it. You
Yeah.
know, the amount of detail she can draw from, like, a clean description is just astounding.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon Punisher issue for Nuff Said. Do you recall that? Where I think he just wrote the Punisher kills some bad guys, and like Steve Dillon had to do like 23 pages, but he killed it. Like that was one of the better ones out of that whole thing. But it just, and I've been listening to the kayfabe thing. They were talking.
Oh, those were the silent issues.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Because I remember those now.
And just hearing they're talking about the Stanley depositions in the Kirby court
Oh, yeah,
cases,
yeah.
and talking about working Marvel method, where somebody just like loosely describes it, like how much of that heavy lifting, like Brian K. Vaughn's script and his characterizations are absolutely great, but without Fiona Staples' artwork, it would not be as electric.
No, not at all.
Definitely not. It was a very good pairing, and
Yeah.
it's obvious by the fact they made it as long as they did,
Yeah.
and have chosen to come back from hiatus, which is this week.
Yeah, this Wednesday.
55 comes out on
Very
Wednesday.
excited.
Issue 55 in stores
At Lowe's.
this Wednesday.
Not
we
at
should,
Lo-
we
not
should be getting
available at
actually
Lowe's.
we should be getting those books tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think we have plenty for everybody. However, I'm not sure how this is going to sell. I think that there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of buzz.
Are we doing the midnight release?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Show up tonight at midnight to be disappointed
Yeah,
because nobody will be
To
here.
bang on the locked door. I have security cameras. I'm watching you.
I'll do it.
No,
do
no.
show.
But
Somebody does a Tim Robbins in Shawshank.
I am amazed how popular this property is. That a few months ago we were talking. Did you see the Taco Bell commercial?
Yes, I wanted to mention that.
No, I didn't actually. I
Where
didn't even know that that was a
two
thing.
It's very
at my
weird.
I don't watch a ton. I hardly watch any TV, to be honest. But I do
Really
watch
don't do
football.
much.
Shout out to my Buffalo Bills. I love the
You want
Bills.
to flip a coin?
Yeah.
So to derail this for a second, maybe you can explain the sweet potato to me. Like I just need to
I
know.
can't explain
Yeah.
the sweet potato to you. A drunk fan brought a sweet potato into the stadium accidentally,
accidentally.
and they won. So they posted something on social media, and then more people. Then he started to bring the potato to more games, and
Okay.
more people caught. But there's no. It makes no sense.
No, that's fine. I like. I just needed the insight.
And then they drew the Josh Allen Buffalo Bill
yes.
drawing on the potato.
So a few months ago at my buddy's house, we're watching football. Again, I don't watch much TV. And I go, is that just a cosplay of Marco in a Taco Bell commercial? And it's like two people going to a con, and they're both dressed as Marco, and they both like kind of catch each other's eye. And I'm not sure if this is like leads to a little bit of romance, but they end up going to Taco Bell together and getting Taco Bell. And I'm like,
It's so weird.
I'm like, there's no way that's a Marco reference. Like
they
it's
should've
just
went-
it's just a weird cosplay. And then I googled it, and sure enough, it was like,
Yeah.
that's a legitimate like they must have
At
licensed.
the end of the commercial, you can see Saga.
Does it really?
Yeah.
It was just
Okay.
Alex. It was the weirdest thing. So I think I text you.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, have you seen? There's a Taco Bell commercial with Saga. Like what a weird combination.
and I had
it's-
seen it too.
but it's
And
that popular.
I had the same thought with like, wow, that's really close to Saga. Like, did somebody just not know?
That's what I was thinking too when
Just,
I saw it.
I really like ram horns.
Which I mean, it could very well be, but like,
I'm like vests and ram horns.
Yeah. Han Solo with ram horns.
yeah. So anyway, Saga, big book. We're all very excited.
Absolutely.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, this Wednesday, comic shop.
I've been waiting
One
for
of
this
my
forever.
hopes is that they figure out where to bring in past characters again. I kind of hope that Clara, the grandmother, is still doing something and that we get to see some more story
I
with
bet
her.
she'll be back. Yeah. I think she will be. for
Another good
sure.
character. Oh, so many good characters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Petrichor. Who knows what's going to happen with that character? Like that cliffhanger in that last issue was pretty serious.
Some serious
Yep.
stuff. We'll find out Wednesday.
Yeah.
Something happens to a main character that looks pretty permanent.
Yeah, well, to several though. Like
Yes.
that's just it. It's like of all the cliffhangers they could have left on, it is like, oh, just everybody is in limbo, and we've been there for a few years now.
It's been almost 3 years, I believe. Do we know
Wow.
why the book went on hiatus? I really don't know the answer to that.
Well, I mean, I probably with the pressure of making a book as good as it is, they probably reached the end of their stockpile, and they probably were just like, okay, let's pause rather than just churning and burning,
Yeah.
and built good stories. Got
I
got
feel
tons of issues in the can,
That's what I would think. Is they got a lot of stuff in the can.
so that way they will never be late.
Well, yeah.
How was the timeliness of Saga when it was coming out? Do we know that?
I don't think that they ever missed a serious date.
No.
I believe that they were very much like a lot of the Image books where they ran through their roughly, 6 to 9 months and then took a brief break and then would return in the spring or the early summer, like a lot of the books, kind of like a Monstrous or something along those lines, where they pretty much regularly say, okay, our last main story issue falls in October. We'll be back in January.
Actually, if they did 54 issues in a roughly 6-year span, they're hitting like an issue every 5 to 6 weeks on average. So maybe a couple deadlines were blown, but that doesn't seem to be outrageous if you're hitting a book every 5 weeks. It would be like every 5 weeks, roughly. So that's not. That seems like they're churning and burning, which is. But again, for a book of that quality, with that the level of writing, the level of art, that's very impressive.
Yeah, some top notch talent. And another interesting thing too is I think Brian K. Vaughn has said this is one of the properties that he will not adapt into a TV show
Yeah,
were talking about that in the
we were
store
talking
last
about that.
week.
or a movie because he wants to leave something special for the comics to pull people into comic
Alex,
shops.
how would you adapt this?
I don't. Lucas and I were kind of talking about that, and it's like you kind of have a few camps. Like he said that maybe as an animated series, kind
Yeah,
of like
I think that would
Invincible, it
work.
could be okay. I feel like they'd probably go with a weird abridged version of it, and you'd kind of lose the fans of the actual comic
Yeah.
on that front. As an outlooker, it would probably be a very interesting series, even if it were abridged. You could go live action, but it becomes either everything has to be digital to save money, and even then you're not really saving that much, or you find somebody with an unlimited budget and you go practical effects, and then all the bets are off. You're basically just looking at making a universe at that point.
I could see it being an HBO show like Game of Thrones. I mean,
My worry,
those episodes are super expensive.
if HBO picked it up, is that they would lean too heavily into the adult themes and graphic nature.
Oh, I'm sure they would.
That they
yeah.
would cheat too much of the story and make it about sex and violence.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Maybe Amazon could pick it up.
Aaron,
They-
what's the
they got enough
solution if
money.
you were to adapt this? What do you do?
The solution: claymation.
Claymation.
Wrong.
Like the Rancor from
So-
Return of the Jedi.
The important one though, claymation in like a Tim Burton sort of mod. I don't even know what to call that.
Live
specific
action with
style.
claymation.
or more like a Wallace and Gromit.
It's going to be. We're going to hire the team that did what was it called? Clay Fighter from the SNES
boy.
1993
Yeah.
video game.
Wow, a very niche thing to mention.
Thank you. And we'll have the team that did that wonderful Super Nintendo claymation rendered fighting game.
Maybe they can partner with the people who did like the effects from Evil Dead.
I don't know if you could do it live action. Like, wouldn't
think
it,
you
wouldn't it be
could.
kind of a disappointment to see like somebody up in the makeup and stuff of these different characters?
The main characters, no, because they're both very human looking. Like Alana and Marco, I feel like would be an easy one to do. Like you pretty much throw ram horns on a guy.
Yeah.
And Alana, like, I don't know, sometimes you show her with wings.
Yeah, that's it.
Same thing with Hazel. The rest of the characters get kind of fantastic
Prince Robot
pretty
would be a
quickly.
bit hard.
There are
Like-
a lot of alien species characters that
Like-
show up early on. Isabel would be kind of a tough one to do because you just have to CG her in for everything.
Yeah.
I just picture her as Slimer now for some
Yes.
reason.
Well, not too dissimilar of a function. She just kind of floats around and more entertaining than Slimer, for sure.
Yeah.
More heart.
Her ghastly antics are much, much more severe than Slimer's.
Yes, also true.
One of the things that's sort of forgotten about that character is that they just, like most people in the universe, refer to them as horrors.
Yeah, that's kind of a You just mentioned Prince Robot the Fourth, whatever. What a great character.
Very complex.
What a great character design, though. That like it's just a big cathode ray TV on top of their heads. Like so simple, but like just brilliant.
I like the distinction of that whole race. They
Yes, yes.
call them the Blue Bloods. All of them are gray-toned skin, and yes, they have a variety of TVs. All of the royalty has color screen TVs, whereas all of the lower castes are all black and white.
Oh, I never picked
Whereas
up on that.
the few frames you ever see King Robot, he is like a 180-inch widescreen.
Yes.
Yep. It's sweet.
What a simple but clever, creative take on a species of alien. You know.
It is interesting.
And just another example of how well the visuals and the story are wed together in comics. Like Saga is easily something you can hold up and say that this is one of the finest examples of what comics can do.
Yes.
And that's very exciting because you see a lot of discussions. At least I do, where like people are like, "Oh, everything is like so writer driven," but like comics are a visual medium. Writing is important, but without compelling visuals, I mean, you could say the same thing for movies. Without compelling visuals, it's just not going to have that same emotional impact.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
notes here for the visuals. Go Saga.
Go Saga.
Go Saga. Shout out to Saga.
Shout
Brian
out.
K Vaughn and Fiona Staples.
There
That's
it is.
3 shout outs, Lucas.
Thank you.
All right.
I think actually Lucas has to start getting ready to go to his other job.
Yes.
Shout out.
We're gonna
shout out to Lowe's.
We're gonna have to cut it. We're running a little long, but
Well, I feel like
we're on a good clip.
Yeah.
but
I know.
unfortunately-
so. I mean, we can keep going for a few more minutes here.
Yeah.
But Aaron, what's your? Do you have anything else you want to get to?
I was trying to wrap it up with all that I said, but
Oh, okay. Well, we can.
Straight to the moon. Send it.
Alex, do you have anything else you want to add to the conversation here in regards to Saga?
Somewhere around here, there's like a big box of like sparkly books with like a cool slipcase and like I don't know, like dungeons and something. I don't know.
Oh, do you want to? We were talking earlier too. Like if we were to do a, give that to Alex. We were talking earlier like that. Saga would be a great thing to adapt into
This is
like
a brick.
ooh, a tabletop gaming.
like a role playing game
Yeah,
with all
that
the
would
goofy
be
characters.
awesome.
I'm shocked that they have not done that,
That would
actually.
be
Right,
awesome.
because I feel like that would be a great way to explore all of these goofy characters and kind of you could do your own takes on them as as so we're a big D&D nice compendium, not compendium, a D&D.
It's a box set. It's a nice box set. It comes with a dungeon screen as well as Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Monsters of the Multiverse, and Tasha's Cauldron of Everything.
But we were looking at that going, boy, that would be a Saga role-playing game might be something where you can explore those characters in that universe because I think that they're so unique and so different that there's a little bit of a parallel there.
I would
Maybe
100%
not.
play that.
Maybe I'm just making that up
No,
so
you could-
Alex
you
can
could
shill
probably,
something. For me.
You could probably do it pretty, not easily, but you'd have to kind of pick and choose, how the system would work. Like you could do it in 5th edition and just sort of add the fantasy and the sci-fi tropes and they have a number of strange swords, but also fantastical magic.
We got a comment here if someone wants to read that off.
It says Jonathan Lego Man, shout out for the Saga RPG.
I didn't even know that there was a Saga RPG.
I don't, you
There's
know what?
not.
Or
Somewhere,
maybe he's just saying.
somewhere somebody's working on
Saga
one.
RPG.
Somewhere there's a kid, an adult writing
Kid shouldn't read this
a
book.
pitch for a
I'm
Saga
sure
RPG.
if you were to Google Saga Dungeons and Dragons, somebody has pre-generated every character sheet and
Yep.
every map that you would need to do a number of the story arcs.
Yeah. If that ever comes out, we have to do a game night. We should do a live stream of it.
We would. Actually, I'd love to figure out to do a one shot in here with D&D and podcast it like this and just put everybody on a mic.
Yeah,
I did
mean,
listen to some of those old ones. They're entertaining. I enjoyed them. I was listening and drawing one time.
We have a good group of people that would do a live game. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Especially in a tight format where it's like, I don't know, we'll commit to 2 or 3 hours
Yeah.
and just that's it. Like, we're gonna get 3 hours in. This isn't gonna be. Catch us next week for part 6 of the one shot.
I do have a question. If that does happen, will we see or hear from Chicon Tendi again?
So Sarah was talking about Chicon Tendi the other day. 'cause
Shout
she's-
out to Chicon. I say Chicon, but
It could be Chicon.
Chicon Tendi?
I always said Chicon Tendi. Because she's been working in Blender, and she's like, I need to come up with character models to practice sculpting on. It's like, make Chicon Tendi. He's super bizarrely shaped. And if you wanted to use Tavis Maiden, friend of Randy Delvin and the shop,
Shout out to
Shout out
Tavis
to Tavis
Maiden,
Maiden.
a amazing artist.
Just keep that button up.
Shout out to Randy Delvin.
Okay.
so many shout outs.
Can I get a shout out for my
Oh.
wife?
There should definitely be a
Can I
shout
get a
out
shout out
for
for my daughter?
Mrs. Lee, and
Can I get a shout out
Baby
for
Lee.
Tootsie?
eh,
There we go.
Masterful.
but Tavis did art for Chicon Tendi and all of the previous cast. I would bring Chicon Tendi back, but it was I was trying to remember because Joe asked us for the scrolling cards for the characters, and I had to come up with just bogus backstory on the fly. I was like, I don't know, Chicken Tendy's from like the Hidden Valley,
Hidden Valley Ranch.
between like the Purdue and the
That's
Tyson Mountain
that's what
ranges.
it was. Yeah, there was several other chicken and ranch inspired like jokey backstories. Like, is this all just chicken tenders and ranch? It's like, it's not that.
That's I love that concept though. That would be so much fun. But if she wants to do any designs, there's always a certain robot she could make a 3D model out of.
Hey, I might. That might be a conversation that I can have after this.
Yeah.
That maybe I can put you both in contact, and she could do a cool Wesley 3D model.
Yeah, that would certainly be helpful for making future drawings as well.
That'd be sweet.
For some reason, when you said drawings, I wanted to go to. Do you remember the Michael Myers?
Drawings?
Yes.
Oh, you know my name is Simon, and I like to do
Yes,
drawings.
there was a good bit.
Let's never do
Shout
that.
out to late 80s, early 90s Saturday Night Live bits. All right, I think we got to wrap it up because Lucas actually has to go to a real job.
I do. I mean, I get paid. Not
Yeah.
for this, but for working here.
You get paid in our company, and just generating.
Did you get paid today, Lucas?
I did.
Did somebody go out of his way to pay you early today?
And I appreciate it.
Shout
out to that
out
guy.
to that guy who paid you early today because you needed some extra cash.
I'm a college student, a broke one at that.
Yeah.
So I have to go to my job now and work for 2 hours.
All right. Do you want to play a bumper? Just because I spend so much time on these
Yeah,
stupid
let's play
things.
bump.
Is there a Lowe's bumper?
There's not.
Okay, I'm not doing anything.
What?
then.
Come on, man.
End of the show. Let's play. What's that? Hold on.
112 East Bridge Street.
The Comic Shop, coming to you in 2022. It's the future. All new supply chain issues. Out of stock again. Increased pricing. More apathy. The Comic Shop. Join all of your favorite friends like
You gotta play this thing from
Joe,
the top of
Game
one
Ben,
now?
and even Lucas at the Comic Shop.
All right, end it on this week's
very
Kind of
Comic
lights
Shop.
up the bar.
This has been the Comic Shop Makes a Podcast.
With me, Aaron Z. Lee, a.k.a. Papa Lee, a.k.a. Pens and Pedals.
Ponk conk.
It's been the Comic Shop does a podcast
Yeah, whatever.
with Lucas Brewer.
And I am Evan Coy. Have a great night, everybody.
So long.